Hi, beautiful people. Happy Friday. It's finally the weekend, and whew, I'm a little exhausted. So, the other day, I did a live stream that was different than my normal commentary. Every now and again, I would do an open panel where people can just come up and chat with me, but that took me down a rabbit hole, and I am still tired from it. Nevertheless, Karoline Leavitt speaks. This is a really good speech. I'm going to get into it. Everything I share is for educational purposes. This is loaded. And I'm going to get right into it. I don't know how long I'm going to be with you guys tonight, so let me get comfortable. Well, let me know if you guys can hear this. Hang on. What's good, Irby? Man, I'm exhausted. Hey, Louise. I missed you guys. How are you doing? Thank you guys that support my commentary and all that good stuff. Karoline Leavitt, I'm pretty excited about this speech. I don't know if you guys heard it yet, but there's a lot going on in this country. Let me get into it. How are you doing, Irby and Louise? How you guys doing? I gotta get into this speech because I'm tired. Let me get into it. So, you guys, I'm not on my phone. I need my phone to see my chat because I'm gonna use a different screen for the sound. All right. Let me set this up for you. Doing pretty good. You're looking quite lovely tonight. I'm feeling, whew. It was just, you know, it's Friday. It's Friday, right? I gotta regroup. Thank you, Louise. I appreciate you. Let me get into this video, okay? Let me know if the sound is okay. Let me find the video. Oh, wait. I'm gonna go on mute real fast. Let's see.
Took office, core CPI has increased. The overwhelmingly positive economic data released this week underscores the significant progress the president has already delivered. Tuesday's CPI report marked the latest confirmation that President Trump has defeated Joe Biden's inflation crisis. Since President Trump took office, core CPI has increased at just a 2.4% annualized rate, substantially lower than the 3.3% annual rate inherited from the Biden administration last January. Importantly, as inflation cools, Americans' wages are rising, giving the American people more purchasing power. And with what is likely going to be a record-breaking tax refund season in the next couple of weeks, the American people will be reaping the rewards of the massive tax cuts that were signed into law by the president. Thanks to President Trump's signing of no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security, boosting the child tax credit, and locking in the 2017 Trump tax cuts, independent estimates project the average American tax filer could expect up to an extra $1,000 bump to their tax refund next year. This is going to be a helpful boost to working families who are making ends meet. On the energy front, the national average price for a gallon of regular gas this week fell to its lowest level in 5 years, thanks to President Trump's drill baby drill agenda. According to Gas Buddy, the average price for regular gas on Monday was below $3 per gallon in 43 states, below $2.75 per gallon in 30 states, and at or below $2.50 per gallon in 17 states. In fact, gas prices were below $2 a gallon at stations in at least 19 states. Don't forget, this was unheard of just a couple of short years ago. Overall, drivers are projected to spend $11 billion less at the gas pump this year than they did last year, resulting in hundreds of dollars in critical savings for the average American family. We're also seeing the housing market rebound as borrowing costs ease and income growth outpaces home price gains. According to a new report, Also released this week from the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales in December rose to their fastest pace in 3 years. To further improve housing affordability, President Trump has recently announced and directed Fannie and Freddie to purchase $200 billion worth of mortgage bonds. As a result of these actions, mortgage rates have fallen to their lowest level in years. As of last Friday, rates for the average 30-year mortgage are down more than 1 full percentage point. Because of these significant declines, monthly housing payments are now at their lowest level in 2 years, and we expect this decrease to continue. As someone who was enormously successful in real estate, President Trump understands that owning a home is about more than just having a physical asset. It's about empowering young people to stake their claim in the American dream. It's about giving newlyweds a place to make their own and start a family. It's about promoting the spirit of hard work, determination, and yes, the rugged individualism that has made America the greatest country in the history of the world. President Trump knows America is strongest when it's a nation of owners, not renters, and he is determined to unlock that opportunity for as many Americans as possible. That's why he will outline additional housing initiatives during his major speech in Davos next week, and we look forward to seeing many of you there. Finally, this morning, President Trump unveiled a healthcare plan for America called the Great Healthcare Plan, and a video message detailing his solutions to lower costs for all Americans and significantly improve our healthcare system. The Great Healthcare Plan will accomplish this through 4 common sense pillars. Number 1, permanently lowering prescription drug prices. Congress can get this done by codifying President Trump's historic Most Favored Nation initiatives into law to guarantee Americans the same low prices for prescription drugs that people in other countries around the world pay. Additionally, by increasing consumer choice by making more verified, safe pharmaceutical drugs available for over-the-counter purchases. Number 2, the Great Healthcare Plan will stop sending big insurance companies billions in extra taxpayer-funded subsidy payments and instead send that money directly to eligible Americans to allow them to buy the health insurance of their choice. Additionally, by funding a cost-sharing reduction program for healthcare plans and ending kickbacks from pharmacy benefit managers to large brokerage middlemen. Number 3, the Great Healthcare Plan will maximize price transparency by requiring any healthcare provider or insurer who accepts either Medicare or Medicaid to publicly and prominently post their pricing and fees to avoid surprise medical bills. This is an incredibly popular policy that has been bipartisan for many years, and President Trump is officially and firmly calling on Congress to get it done. And number 4, holds big insurance companies accountable by requiring them to publish rate and coverage comparisons up front on their websites in plain English so consumers and everyday Americans can make the best purchasing decisions for them and their families. These are common sense actions that make up President Trump's Great Healthcare Plan, and they represent the most comprehensive and bold agenda to lower healthcare costs to have ever been considered by the federal government. Congress should immediately take up President Trump's plan and pass it into law. For Americans watching at home, you can visit greathealthcare.gov right now for more information on the Great Healthcare Plan. And with that, we will open it up to questions. In our new media seat today, we have a familiar face, Riley Gaines. I'm surprised it took us a year to get you here, but I'm very happy to see you. I know you have a new podcast, The Riley Gaines Show. And so thank you. And you brought a beautiful baby and your lovely husband too. So thank you so much for joining. And why don't you kick us off?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. First and foremost, congratulations to you. Being a girl mom will change your life in the best way possible. So excited you get to shop all the pink and the frilly and the bows. I was in Washington, D.C. earlier this week for the Supreme Court case. There were 2 arguments that were heard surrounding sex-based rights and if it's constitutional for states to pass laws that ultimately protect those rights for women. If the Supreme Court rules as anticipated in favor of maintaining these sex-based rights, is the administration prepared to take action against the states? I believe at this point it's 23 states that don't have those protections for women?
Absolutely. And as you know, Riley, the administration already has done so. We've taken action in a number of fronts against these states who are failing to uphold the president's executive orders in this administration's policy of simply protecting women in women's sports and in women's private spaces. We've gone to the mat with large universities in this country as well to try to fight for what's fair and what's just for women and girls across the country. So I know you were at the arguments. I listened to them myself as a woman and as a former athlete. And I think the president speaks on common sense on this issue, that women's sports and private spaces should be protected, and that there are two genders, there are two sexes. That is not something we should be afraid to say in this country. And I think, frankly, it was quite alarming to not only hear a couple of justices gravel over that basic fundamental biological fact that men and women are different but inherently equal, but we are certainly different and women deserve such rights. We hope and expect that the Supreme Court will rule in the right way on this matter. Thank you. Gabe.
Karoline, thank you very much. A lot to talk about.
Sure. Isn't there always a lot to talk about?
What can you share about the president's meeting with Maria Corina Machado? Is it underway? What can you share about that? And then also, the president said yesterday that Delcy Rodriguez was, quote, a terrific person. Does the president trust the remaining members of the Maduro regime?
I will say to your first question, the meeting was about to begin as I was stepping out of the Oval Office moments ago. So my understanding is that it's underway right now. I know the president was looking forward to this meeting, and he's was expecting it to be a good and positive discussion with Ms. Machado, who is really a remarkable and brave voice for many of the people of Venezuela. So the president looks forward to obviously talking to her about the realities on the ground in the country and what is taking place. As for Ms. Rodriguez, the president did speak with her directly this week. As you know, he revealed that to all of you yesterday. And Secretary Rubio and the administration have been in constant communication with Ms. Rodriguez and other members of the interim government in Venezuela. They have been extremely cooperative. They have thus far met all of the demands and requests of the United States and of the president. And I think you have all seen that play out. We obviously had a $500 million energy deal that was struck in large part because of the cooperation from Ms. Rodriguez. Venezuela and Ms. Rodriguez have also confirmed that they will be releasing political prisoners from Venezuela. There were 5 Americans who were recently released this week as well. So the president likes what he's seeing and will expect that cooperation to continue.
And regarding the investigation into the leak that the president referenced yesterday, what is the administration's position on the Washington Post reporter? The Post has reported that she was told she is not a target of the investigation. Does the administration believe she did anything wrong? And then also, what is the administration's position on the Pentagon Papers case from the 1970s that affirmed reporters' right to publish classified information under certain circumstances?
Well, since this is an active investigation, I don't want to comment on it much more than what we did yesterday to obviously confirm the investigation. And I can confirm what the Attorney General stated and the President as well, which is that the individual, unfortunately, a contractor at the Pentagon, chose to unlawfully leak classified and very serious information to this Washington Post reporter. Hence why the reporter's home was looked into by the FBI, rightfully so. And the administration is not going to tolerate leaks, especially from within the national security apparatus of the United States government, that put our nation's integrity and our national security at risk. Full stop. The president will not support that. I know the Secretary of War will not support that, and it will not stand. And legal action will be taken against anyone, whether it's a member of the press or whether it's an employee for a federal agency who breaks the law. If you break the law and if you endanger our men and women in uniform, you are going to be held accountable, period, full stop.
But does this
Jackie.
administration believe that this reporter or any reporter has a right to publish classified information under certain circumstances?
Look, I think that we do not believe that individuals who have been given the privilege of holding a top secret clearance should be illegally leaking that classified information. And I know the American people agree with that. And I think it's a basic tenet of journalistic integrity not to publish information that could directly endanger the operational security or the brave men and women who are serving this country in uniform and putting themselves in harm's way to protect not just the people of this administration, but all of you in the press and all of their fellow Americans as well. Jackie.
Thank you, Caroline. I wanted to get the White House reaction to Iranian state TV broadcasting an implicit threat to the president's life. It was images of the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, according to reports, with the message, "This time it will not go wrong."
I have not seen that, to be honest with you, Jackie. We'll take a look, and I'll let the president and his national security team examine that footage to ensure its legitimacy. Again, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. What I will say with respect to Iran is that the president and his team have communicated to the Iranian regime that if the killing continues, there will be grave consequences. And the president received a message, as he revealed to all of you and the whole world yesterday, that the killing and the executions will stop. And the president understands today that 800 executions that were scheduled and supposed to take place yesterday were halted. And so the president and his team are closely monitoring this situation, and all options remain on the table for the president.
Netanyahu encouraged him against strikes.
Look, it's true that President spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu, but I would never details about their conversation without giving the expressed approval by the president himself.
Thank you, Caroline. Is it still the president's assessment that it would be very hard for Ms. Machado to leave Venezuela because he says she lacks the respect and support in that country? And will he raise that with her today?
I think the president's assessment that you just pointed out was based on realities on the ground. It was a realistic assessment based on what the president was reading and hearing from his advisors and national security team. And at this moment in time, his opinion on that matter has not changed.
He has also said that he would like there to be elections in Venezuela when the time is right.
That's right.
Do you have any update on when that might be? And is he committed to a transition to democracy for Venezuela?
Yes, and he is also committed to hopefully seeing elections in Venezuela one day, but I don't have an updated timetable for you today. Reagan in the back.
Thanks, Caroline. I have a question for you on Minnesota and then also Venezuela.
Sure.
President Trump threatened invoking the Insurrection Act today in a Truth Social post. I'm wondering what his tipping point is. Like, what would it take for him to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Look, that's only a question, frankly, Reagan, the president can answer. But the Insurrection Act is a tool at the president's disposal. As you know, it has been used sparingly, but it has been used by previous presidents in American history. And I think the president's Truth Social post spoke very loud and clear to Democrats across this country, elected officials who are using their platforms to encourage violence against federal law enforcement officers, who are encouraging left-wing agitators to unlawfully obstruct legitimate law enforcement operations. And if you talk to any law enforcement officer, no matter what level they work at, they want to be working with their counterparts, whether that's at the federal level or the federal authorities wanting to work with their counterparts at the state and local level. And it's truly shameful that now for more than a year, you've had elected Democrat governors and mayors who have basically held their state and local law enforcement hostage and told them, you cannot cooperate with federal law enforcement. Why? They cooperated under the Biden administration. It's because these Democrats are deranged in their hatred for President Trump, and they are holding their state and local law enforcement hostage as a result. And these Democrat mayors and governors are doing this over what? Over the lawful and legitimate law enforcement operations to remove violent criminals from the streets of Minnesota, from the streets of California, from the streets of New York, and from the streets of every state across this country. And you don't see these riots and this vandalism taking place in states like Florida. Why? Because you have a governor in that state who has empowered federal and local authorities to work together. And it's despicable what we're seeing from these Democrat politicians, especially in sanctuary states and cities across the country.
Yesterday, Caroline.
Go ahead, John.
Thank you so much. My question is, President Trump has talked twice in recent days, once at the Kennedy Center and then to Reuters again last night, about canceling the election. Why is he talking about this?
I believe you're referring to the president's interview at Reuters last night. I was in that interview. It was a closed-door interview. Obviously, there was not audio or video. The president was simply joking. He was saying, we're doing such a great job. We're doing everything the American people thought. Maybe we should just keep rolling. But he was speaking facetiously.
And then one more.
Sure.
On the labor secretary. She's under investigation. Has he spoken to her about this?
I don't know if the president has spoken directly to the secretary. If they have, I'm unfamiliar with that conversation, but I have spoken to the president about that report regarding the secretary. He's aware of the internal investigation and he stands by the secretary, and he thinks that she's doing a tremendous job at the Department of Labor on behalf of American workers. PBS, go ahead.
You were mentioning a moment ago about working federal, state, local officials in Minneapolis. Governor Walz's office is saying today that he's trying to get a hold directly with the president. Have they spoken? And if they haven't, why haven't they spoken? If there's a desire from Walz, that they're saying to de-escalate what's happening there.
I'm not sure if that's a genuine offer to speak with the president. I was with the president about 30 minutes ago and they hadn't spoken at that point. Look, the president is always willing to answer the phone when people pick up and call. When there was another tragic shooting many months ago in Governor Walz's state, he spoke directly with the governor. But I would ask that the governor stops inciting the harassment and illegal obstruction of law enforcement in his state. All ICE and federal law enforcement are trying to do are remove people like this off of the streets of Governor Walz's city in Minneapolis and of his state in Minnesota. If you look at some of the individuals in this photo, these are all illegal alien criminals who came into our country under the previous administration. This is some of the most disturbing crimes you will ever read about. And there's only a few reporters in this room who will actually talk about these individuals. This is all ICE is trying to do. They are trying to remove people like this from Governor Walz's state. And so, yes, he should pick up the phone and he should say that he will cooperate with this president and with the federal government in making Minnesota safer, because that's all President Trump and his administration want to do. Mary.
Thanks, Caroline. The president says he wants money to go directly to Americans so they can buy their own insurance. How exactly would this work? And can the president assure Americans that this will be enough to cover their healthcare costs?
So this is the second principle in the president's healthcare plan, lowering insurance premiums specifically and ensuring that that money is going directly back to the American people and cutting the kickbacks that then raise those premiums. So this plan, once put into legislative text and passed by Congress and sent to the president's desk, will stop sending big insurance companies billions of an extra taxpayer-funded subsidy payments and instead send that money directly to eligible Americans to allow them to buy the health insurance of their choice through, you may have heard it be referred to as health savings accounts. Whether that ends up being the actual name of such accounts, we'll have to see. Again, Congress and the White House are going to work together to put this plan into action. And then secondly, the Great Healthcare Plan will fund a cost-sharing reduction program for healthcare plans, which will save taxpayers at least $36 billion and reduce the most common Obamacare plan premiums by over 10%. And that's according to the Congressional Budget Office.
But 20 million Americans in recent weeks have seen their healthcare costs soar. Can he assure them that if this plan is put in place, that they will be able to cover those costs?
If this plan is put in place, every single American who has health care in the United States will see lower costs as a result. They will see more transparency. All of these proposals that are within the Great Healthcare Plan are incredibly popular with the American people, and they will impact everyone, not just a small fraction of those who are within the healthcare marketplace, but every single American will continue to see their costs go down. And I will note that they already are with respect to prescription drug prices. When you look at what the president has done with most favored nations, you've seen these big pharmaceutical companies in the Oval Office saying that this president and his team were nonstop around the clock pressuring us and negotiating with us to lower the cost of prescription drugs for Americans. And we are already seeing that to the tune, in some cases, of more than 500%. And that Trump RX website is something that the administration will be formally not launching very soon, so Americans will have access to those lower costs of drugs. Josh.
Thank you. The president has called on credit card companies to lower the cap rate to 10% effective the 20th next week. If they don't do that, what's his what'll he do? What's the threat?
Well, tariffs? No, I'm just kidding. The president certainly has an expectation, Josh, that the credit card companies will do this, just as he did with the pharmaceutical companies, that they will lower costs for American consumers. I don't have a specific consequence to outline for you, but certainly this is an expectation and, frankly, a demand that the president has made.
Can you give us an update on the Fed? Sorry. There was some reporting from, I think, Fox Business that Rick Reeder had an interview this week scheduled. The president's indicated he's already made a selection, or at least he's settling on someone. Where is he in that process, and when can we expect an announcement? Is he still doing interviews? issues?
Look, the president is in the same place as you all have been asking about this for many, many weeks. He's in a decision-making phase. There are a few people who he likes very much for this job, maybe less than that. The truth is, like with all decisions, it's a decision for the president to make. And he said to Reuters in that interview last night that he thinks he'll be finally making that decision in the next couple of weeks. So we will see.
And very quickly, there's been some criticism from other governments about Grok and XAI, the Twitter AI bot, and things it's been doing to manipulate images, including whether that would violate the Take It Down Act that the First Lady has supported. We've not heard from this administration on it. Elon Musk says that they've disabled that, but I wanted to ask you whether the administration has a position and whether that's something that you will be pursuing, or whether the president has talked to Mr. Musk about that.
Yes, I will talk to the Office of Science and Technology, and we will get you a firm statement and answer on exactly where the administration stands. I don't want to speak on that without speaking with the experts on it. Yes.
Just to follow up on the healthcare plan, one of the things in the Affordable Care Act was coverage of pre-existing conditions. Is there any discussion or inclusion on that issue in the president's plan?
The president's plan that he outlined today will have no impact on individuals in this country with pre-existing conditions. Obviously, that's a continued conversation that the White House will have with Congress, but that's not the president's intention with the great healthcare plan.
Caroline.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. 2 questions on Minneapolis.
And then you. Go ahead.
2 questions on Minneapolis, one on the ICE agent, the other on the rioting. I believe last night there were protesters or rioters that rifled through an FBI car, took weapons. We had a reporter embedded with ICE who said that she saw constant harassment all evening. Can you speak to the rhetoric we're hearing from Democrat politicians, whether they are causing violence against ICE, as well as some of the headlines we've seen, not including the full story?
Yeah, I mean, to your first point, I think I've addressed that these Democrat governors and mayors in not just Minnesota, but in states across the country are essentially, they've referred to ICE agents who, again, are brave men and women. And I would encourage everyone in this room, and I would encourage Governor Walz and other Democrats who are demeaning law enforcement to sit down and have a cup of coffee with an ICE agent or a Border Patrol agent. These are great, patriotic men and women who have families, who put on the uniform every day and are following our nation's immigration laws at the direction of their bosses and again, at the direction of the law. They are simply trying to enforce the law. And the Democrat Party has demeaned these individuals. They've even referred to them as Nazis and as the Gestapo. And that is absolutely leading to the violence we're seeing in the streets. If you look at some of the images out of Minneapolis last night, look at this vehicle. Look at what it says. It says F ICE. You have these individuals who are putting their middle finger, proudly so, at the camera. Another ICE individual, a vehicle that was vandalized last night by these left-wing agitators. People don't do this without encouragement from people in power who make them feel like it's okay. Here's another one. And I'm pretty sure this car, you can't see it, said the best agent is a dead agent or something to that effect. This is despicable rhetoric that we're seeing. And the media is absolutely complicit in this violence, because if you look at the headline from CNN, protests erupt after federal agent shoots man in Minneapolis. That is not the story. That is not the truth. If you actually want to know the truth, you can look at what the Department of Homeland Security released, which is that this ICE agent was executing a targeted operation against a Venezuelan illegal alien who was unlawfully present in the country, who fled by car and then fled by foot. And when this ICE agent tried to detain the individual, 3 more of his comrades came rushing out of a house and started ambushing and attacking the ICE agent. They used a shovel or a broom to smash his face in. And so, yes, that agent had to use self-defense and take up his weapon to protect his own life. That is what's happening on the streets of Minneapolis. That's what's happening on the streets, unfortunately, of these Democrat-run cities and states where you have elected officials who are encouraging such violence against our brave men and women in law enforcement.
Thank you, Caroline. 2 questions. First, a follow-up on one of my colleagues who asked you about the president's interview with Reuters. You said that he was joking about canceling the elections, but Americans for generations have fought and died for democracy, for this democracy. Are you saying that the president finds the idea of canceling elections funny?
Andrew, were you in the room? No, you weren't. I was in the room. I heard the conversation, and only someone like you would take that so seriously and pose it as a question that way.
Caroline, next
Thank you, Caroline. Senator Elizabeth Warren said that the president called her earlier this week to discuss caps on credit card interest rates. I'm curious, would the president work with her and other Democrats in Congress on a legislative fix to this issue?
I think the president would work in good faith with anyone in Congress for a good legislative fix that would benefit the American people. And that's precisely why he called Senator Warren earlier this week on that matter.
Thanks, Caroline. Earlier, you were just defending ICE agents generally. And earlier on, Secretary Noem spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 US citizens were detained by ICE. And Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist. And it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
Kelly. Two quick questions on Iran. I wanted to ask first, just if you can say, how close was the president to potentially launching strikes last night? And was it the Gulf states that convinced him not to do that, as some of the region there have said?
Well, look, Kelly, I know there's been a lot of speculation in the media about what the president is going to do at any given moment or any given night. And I would say a lot of these stories, to be honest with you, I've been reading them, and they've been based on anonymous sources who are pretending or guessing to know the president's thinking. The truth is, only President Trump knows what he's going to do, and a very, very small team of advisors are read into his thinking on that. And as I just told you, he continues to closely monitor the situation on the ground in Iran. And as we saw yesterday, he had heard that the killings and executions would stop. And we have seen 800 people, their lives have been spared as a result of that. The president continues to closely monitor, but also keep all of his options on the table.
Caroline, two separate questions.
Sure.
On the Machado meeting first, what is it that the president feels that he needs to hear from her or from the opposition party that he hadn't heard prior to today or he wanted to hear in the meeting to be able to convince him to commit to some sort of a timeline for elections?
I'm not sure the president is going into such the meeting with expectations like you just laid out, Fran. I don't think he needs to hear anything from Ms. Machado. I think generally this is a meeting that the president was willing to take and willing to accept to meet Ms. Machado in person and to just have a frank and positive discussion about what's taking place in Venezuela. That's all.
On the subject of Greenland, Jeff Landry, the president's special envoy for Greenland, wasn't in the White House meeting yesterday. Can you say why that was and what exactly the role he is playing in these conversations about acquiring Greenland?
Well, the vice president and the secretary of state were present for that meeting. And the meeting, it was a productive meeting. It was a good meeting. And in that meeting, the two sides agreed to really establish a working group of individuals who will continue to have technical talks on the acquisition of Greenland. Those talks will take place, I'm told, every 2 to 3 weeks. So this is a conversation the administration intends to keep having with the Danes and with the respected delegation from Greenland. But the president has made his priority quite clear. He wants the United States to acquire Greenland. He thinks it's in our best national security to do that.
There have been multiple instances of American citizens being detained by ICE, and I'm wondering what the administration is asking the agency to do. What steps is the administration asking the agency to take to ensure that Americans are not wrongly arrested?
Obviously, ICE is focused on detaining individuals who are unlawfully present in the country. And there have been hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens who have been arrested and detained and deported from this country by ICE over the course of the last year. And that's their intention, and that is their goal.
Elizabeth. Thank you, Caroline. One follow-up on Greenland. You reportedly sent troops over there. Does that change at all what the president is doing on this? And then a second question. Yesterday, in a Senate help hearing, Senator Josh Hawley repeatedly asked a doctor if men can get pregnant, and she did not directly answer that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, to your first question on Greenland, I don't think troops in Europe impact the president's decision-making process, nor does it impact his goal of the acquisition of Greenland at all. To your second question, I mean, anyone in their right mind with common sense who's speaking honestly and candidly will say that men cannot get pregnant. And I think I can attest to that myself. So thank you all very much.
Here to respond exclusively, Borders are Tom Homan. Tom, it's great to see you tonight. The Minnesota politicians will say often, as Fry does, and we're going to get into him a little bit later on, but Fry and Waltz, they'll say, well, we want calm. We want the temperature to come down. And then they egg on the violence. They continue to do this night after night. And as you saw, Tom, it's getting worse night after night.
It is. And just before I got in front of the camera, my security team advised me that the person that stole that farm last night is now wearing a set of handcuffs in custody. So I was just advised of that before I got on the camera. So, and there's others, others are coming. So they're going to be held accountable. But you're right. Look, Mayor Fry and the governor could end this right now. They could say, ICE, we want to work with you. ICE, we want to let you into our jails, and we're going to, respect your detainers. Any illegal alien that we book into a jail, when we're done with them, we're going to call you. So you can arrest them in the safety and security of a jail rather than us releasing them to the street. Then you got to send a whole team to look for them. They could fix the situation right now, because as of right now, what are these these anarchists, what do they have achieved so far? What have they achieved? Has ICE decreased their operations? No, we doubled down. We're arresting people every day and we'll keep doing it. They haven't achieved anything other than violence.
Well, Tom, I also think what's clear here is that the money trail has to be dried up. That has to be exposed. I know there's some reporting around the edges about some foundations, perhaps connected to billionaires we've been talking about, are giving some type of support for some of these groups that may filter into these protests. But the idea that this is some organic uprising is ludicrous. I was there. It was obvious. It was not organic.
Well, you're exactly right. And there's a deep dive right now between HSI, IRS, and FBI. We know there's organized groups. We know there's funding. And we're doing a deep dive right now to identify them, follow the money, and find out who's organizing this, who's inciting the violence. And justice is coming their way. So we're all over this. We just had increased the number of attorneys to Minnesota, number of agents. But there's a separate part of that. We're looking at the financials. We're looking at who's funding this, who's antagonizing this, and they'll be held accountable, Laura. We're all over it. You should hear something real soon.
When Governor Walz said for citizens to track ICE, film them, and record their, quote, atrocities for future prosecution, and then you hear the Philly police chief looked like a comedy sketch when she was up there talking about, oh, we're going to, we'll arrest ICE if we have to. We'll arrest the agents. If you come into our town, you're going to get arrested, essentially. I'm paraphrasing. What's your response to them tonight?
Well, the Philly sheriff, she's proven she's not too smart. I mean, you're not going to arrest anybody. Because like you said earlier in your monologue, there's supremacy clause. If you interfere or impede ICE officers, I don't care if you're wearing a badge or not. You just committed a felony. So we're going to continue doing this job, and these people who want to say follow ICE, and film ICE, you know what? You can protest. They have that right. But when you cross the line, and we've proven it, if you interfere or impede or assault an ICE officer, you will be prosecuted. And one thing I'm pushing for right now, Laura, we're going to create a database where those people that are arrested for interference, impediment, assault, we're going to make them famous. We're going to put their face on TV. We're going to let their employers in their neighborhoods, in their schools, know who these people are. Because as you said, a lot of these people, they say they're taking time off work to protest. I bet you a lot of them are calling in sick. I bet you a lot of their employers don't know what they're doing. But we're going to make sure everybody knows who they are. We're going to broadcast. They want to broadcast the ICE officer that was nearly killed all over the internet. We're going to broadcast every one of these people we arrest.
Tom, what's the status of the agent who was ambushed last night, his medical status?
Well, I talked to him. He's healing, and he's under medical care. He's in a secure location, not because he's afraid, because of the death threats against his family, but I'm glad he's in a secure location, because I myself have seen plenty of intelligence reports that a lot of people want him dead. They want his family dead. So he's in a safe place right now, healing up, getting medical attention.
Three Venezuelan illegals attack him, and they want him dead? Has Mayor Fry or Tim Walz reached out to his family?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, the bottom line is, again, have they met with the Angel family and all these people protesting what's happening in Minneapolis? Where were they when Laken Riley was, brutally murdered? Or we can go, how many young women have been raped and murdered and brutally killed? Where was all the anger then? And I talked to an Angel mom today, and she's upset because no one was protesting her daughter's death when she was raped and murdered by an illegal alien. It's incredible where we're at today as a nation. I'll say it again, and I mean it. I think the difference right now is these politicians, they hate Trump more than they love their communities, because if they really love their communities, they'd be working with ICE, take these public safety threats off the street. They don't want to give President Trump a win. But I got news for him. President Trump's winning every day. Every criminal illegal alien we take off the street makes this country safer, and we're not going to stop.
Tom, are you concerned about the CNN and Quinnipiac polls that showed declining public support for ICE and President Trump's approach to immigration enforcement? Do you think those are accurate? Or are they being egged on by the press?
I think it'd be egged on by the press. I think there's a lot of false media out there, and I think we need to be better at messaging what we're doing. Look, bottom line is 70% of everybody arrested is a criminal. We need to start advertising that every single day and putting their pictures all over social media. And the bottom line is if people listen to most of the media, not this network, they're going to hear that ICE is separating families every day. We're deporting U.S. citizen children. We're doing operations in elementary schools and churches and hospitals. We just got pushed back to lies, because I think a lot of people don't get the facts, and we got to be better at getting the facts out there.
And Tom, we're showing live pictures from Minneapolis, and we know our viewers are concerned about that ambush and the state of that agent. And our viewers are wondering whether you learned anything else about how the ambush took place, or what he told you about it that you might share tonight.
I can't share anything more on ongoing investigation, but the agents, the agents, thank God he's alive and he's healing up. So, it's a travesty. I mean, Laura, I'll say it again. I said it a few weeks ago on your show. If the hateful rhetoric doesn't stop, there's going to be more bloodshed. It's not over. And what scares you the most is there's going to be another death, either of an agent or somebody that's steps over that line. I buried Border Patrol agents throughout my career. I buried special agents. The worst thing I've ever done in my career is handed a folded flag to a spouse or a child. I pray every night that I never have to do that again.
Tom, is it time for the Insurrection Act, or would that just add gasoline to the fire?
I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that, but it's certainly an option, a viable option. So actually, I'll be meeting with the president tomorrow. So, you know, I think it's something that needs to be on the table because this cannot continue. There is going to be more bloodshed. I'm telling you. I hope I'm wrong, but I haven't been yet. There's going to be more bloodshed if something hasn't done.
It's going to spread, and most Minnesotans, by the way, and I want to say this tonight because folks have reached out to me, support ICE. It's this radical group of anarchists, and when you see them close up, you really get a sense of who they are. It's this crowd, a lot of them paid, a lot of them working, double shifts of protest against the rest of the state, which are reasonable, common sense, peaceful people of all backgrounds, including immigrant backgrounds. They don't like what's happened in the Twin Cities, and we're going to expose more about Jacob Frey in a moment. But Tom, I think most people are good people. They want the bad people out, and they want some peace in their neighborhoods.
And we're going to get the bad people out. And as far as the organization, everybody that's planning these protests, giving these people weapons and funding this, again, justice is coming because we're deep diving that whole thing.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News.
An OBGYN testifying for Democrats at an abortion hearing on Capitol Hill, raising eyebrows for refusing to answer this seemingly basic question.
Based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
what you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question. It sounds like to me.
Biological.
Conservative commentator Allie Beth Stuckey joins us now. Seemingly easy question to answer. At this day and age, maybe not.
Yes, she tries to act like this is nuanced, this is complicated. I don't know about you, but I don't want my OBGYN not to be able to define what a woman is or to be confused about who can actually get pregnant and have children. When we are talking about making policy, when we are talking about decisions that affect humans and affect women and affect girls, I really want the people in influence and in charge to know how to define male and female. And I guess she can't.
How do you think this resonates when you interview conservatives and Democrats? How does it resonate when it comes to the midterms? What do the majority of Americans think about this issue?
Look, I think this is honestly a 90-10 issue. A few years ago, I would have said maybe 60-40, but now we have worked so hard, all of us in so many different ways, whether it's in the activist circle, the commentator space, just the everyday mom and dad, to push for sanity and to push for protection and fairness for our girls, that we've persuaded a lot of people. Obviously, we still have work to do, but we've done a lot of good in this area.
And then on Tuesday, it was a similar issue. Supreme Court, as you know, Allie Beth, they were talking about whether or not trans women can play in female sports. And so it made it all the way to the Supreme Court, Idaho and West Virginia, 2 different cases. And the attorney representing one of the trans athletes had to answer a question from Justice Alito, but had a tough time. A simple question as well. Listen to this.
What does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
We do not have a definition for the court. And we don't take issue with we're not disputing the definition here. What we're saying is that the way it applies in practice is to exclude birth sex males categorically from women's teams, and that there's a subset of those birth sex males where it doesn't make sense to do so according to the state's own interest.
Well, how can a court determine whether there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes?
So the umbrella is really transgender, but then there are different arguments. Like we had the first argument, which is define a man, or can a man have a baby? But this is about fairness in our sports. And so you might have people in that sect that say, you can do whatever you want. You can be 18, 21, you can make your own decisions about your body. However, when a girl has been training her whole life to play a sport, then we need to define what a man and a woman is, because it's not fair for a man to say, all of a sudden, I'm going to be a girl and play against our little girls who have trained their whole lives.
Right. Progressives want to complicate this, but it's really simple. We're contending for reality, and the terminology gets very confusing. But at the end of the day, we have boys, we have girls. That's decided at the moment of conception. That's not a mistake. And we are not competing against an identity as girls. We are competing against biology. So it doesn't matter what you think you are. It matters what you actually are and what your body can do as an athlete. And their refusal to define their terms means that they're not serious about the truth, and you can't really have justice without truth. And so I'm sure Justice Alito is a little frustrated, as he should be.
It definitely makes it difficult when we're talking about these types of things with our
Move over, Ice Mommies. Trantifa will take it from here.
That's what you get when you come to Minnesota.
From here on out, it's J6 every night in Minneapolis, after the call went out from Governor Walz.
And if you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record.
Timmy came out last night and told the mommy mob to hit the streets and stalk agents with cameras. The only thing you're not allowed to record are Somali fraud rings. This time, the crowd looked a little gnarlier, if you can believe it. It looked like a big Antifa reunion. And they were doing a lot more than just recording. They broke into an FBI vehicle and used a tow rope to rip out a weapons locker.
Hey, don't hit them. Slick my neck of that.
Masked vigilantes looted the car, stole a weapon, bulletproof vests, and stacks of sensitive government documents. These documents had names of federal agents and their locations. The rioters immediately exploited the intel and began doxing agents online. This was a major intelligence breach. Homan just announced they've arrested the perpetrator, and he's going to face felony charges. But countless federal agents' lives are now in danger. Meanwhile, Homan's family's getting death threats, and the ICE agent who got rammed by Renee was forced into hiding. And left-wing militants are joining forces, threatening the lives of federal police. Here are the Black Panthers.
I put a hole in their chest the size of a window. We're a little more aggressive now, you dig? You want to correct the ideology of the pig and the mentality of the slave catcher, you meet them with equal force.
You've got the minivan militia, the Black Panthers, Antifa, and now the bad hombres feel like they have backup. Yesterday, ICE was attacked by a group of violent Biden migrants. 3 Venezuelan nationals jumped an ICE agent with weapons. All 3 were caught and released by Biden and had been harbored in the sanctuary city of Minneapolis. Julio was the target. A traffic stop turned into a vehicle pursuit. He crashed, then fled on foot. When the agent caught him, his 2 Venezuelan amigos came out and started hitting the agent with a snow shovel and a broom handle. The officer was forced to fire off a defensive shot, hitting Julio in the leg before the 3 of them ran into an apartment and barricaded themselves inside. Eventually, they all got iced. But this hombre, Julio, doesn't seem like he has any regrets. Here he is grinning ear to ear at the hospital. This is who the left is trying to protect. Violent Venezuelans with criminal histories. The media, too. Look at this headline from the Times. Federal agent shoots man in Minneapolis. A man in Minneapolis. That's how the media stokes violence. These ICE stalkers just see the headline. They think ICE is on a killing spree, so they hit the streets and riot. Never let a crisis go to waste, right? So now Democrats are using an ICE agent getting attacked with a shovel as an excuse to give people free rent.
I'm bringing a resolution calling on Governor Walz to declare a eviction moratorium because as we're living under this occupation, people can't, as we seen with last night's shootings, they can't even travel on the expressway safely.
They're using the word occupation for federal officials to be in an American city. By their logic, the whole country is being occupied by the Trump administration. And their solution is to violently expel them. Naturally, people are taking it as a call to arms. Homeland Security, last night, arrested a man assaulting a federal agent in the Twin Cities. Police found a handgun and a box of ammo on him. Mayor Small Fry is justifying the insurrection.
Imagine if that city or that town was suddenly invaded by thousands of federal agents that do not share the values that you hold dear.
The invaders who don't hold our values are the illegals. They're saying federal police don't have the right to be in Minneapolis, but MS-13 does. Murderers, sex traffickers, thieves. They're trying to keep us out and them in. They want to turn their town into an anti-ICE igloo.
We are on our own. So what are you going to do about it? I acknowledge the difficulty of a city standing up to the federal government, but that should only inspire our creativity. I would recommend that our snowplows should dump snow to block the roads to the Whipple building and any staging areas to prevent these thugs from launching violent raids on our city.
An SUV was just caught dumping water around a federal building to ice the roads so agents and their cars slip and crash. And they want their local cops to get in a shootout with the feds.
And we're in a position right now where we have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street.
Fry's not going to do that, but the Minneapolis police are being asked to do the unthinkable by the streets, to start a civil war. But they're not even the ones on the front lines. It's the ICE moms.
Some people say, you know, you guys shouldn't be here. You should go get a job. What's your answer to those people?
I have a job.
8 kids.
8 kids, and I am protecting my country, my community for them.
You have 8 kids, and you're fighting to keep child molesters in the neighborhood? And you're not even home to protect them? Is dad home? Imagine your wife tells you, can you pick up the 8 kids from school and throw a dinner together? I'm going to be out fighting ICE with my whistle and the family minivan. Instead of making sandwiches for their kids, they're buying lunch for illegals. Watch.
Beans, rice, corn, got other veggies, potatoes. Hopefully get them through for a week. And we're gonna grab 2 dozen eggs. We got 2 eggs for these families. Families of 4, unfortunately it's not enough, but I'll see if we can get back there Thursday to get some meat and extras for them.
No wonder food's so expensive. There's 10 million more mouths to feed since Joe Biden let everybody in. And now every woman with issues wants to be like Renee Good. They're shaving their heads, lacing up combat boots, and putting their lives on the line. Why? Because Renee Good is now a feminist hero who's probably going to have a statue built just like George Floyd.
Renee Good. I want you to remember her name. She's a martyr. She sacrificed. She's been taken away from us, and we will never forget her. We'll always hold up her memory. Are we right? And I want you to know that this lady, she died when she was trying to help the most vulnerable neighbors in our community.
They're already calling her the female Floyd.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah.
White women aren't safe. They'll kill them too. And so I think it's a George Floyd level moment. I think Renee Good becomes like the George Floyd of this resistance against ICE.
They're running the same playbook they ran in 2020. Demoralize police, defund them, threaten to throw them in prison, and create a rash of early retirements and white guilt. And the media, even though they know that backfired big time last time, they're all in.
Renee Good, unfortunately and tragically killed.
Are you asking me my
Yeah.
opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed it unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist. And it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat.
The media is turning ICE rammers into heroes. Harris probably start bailing rioters out like she did last time, even though the people in Minnesota want ICE to be there.
You gotta love small towns in Minnesota, honestly. We are so stoked. And honestly, you know what I did after the ICE agents got done with their job and what they were doing? I said, can I buy you all, like something to drink, something to eat? And I did.
Walz could end this today. All he has to do is call off the dogs and cooperate like most other governors. Hold the criminals in jail so ICE can pick them up in a nice, neat, orderly fashion. Noam spoke to him. No bueno. Walz wants war.
I said, you have my personal cell phone. You call me. If you need me, you call me. We will be there to help back you up, but protect your city, protect your state. And he paused for a few seconds and he just said, yeah, okay. We have very different viewpoints of what's going on.
Trump's considering invoking the Insurrection Act in Minnesota, sending in the Guard. This is a battle of wills. The stakes are high. Can the federal government enforce immigration law like the country voted for? Or will sanctuary states dominate and become third world fortresses inside of America? Minnesota is demanding unlimited flows of foreigners and fraud. And if the federal government tries to stop it, they'll be met with violence. This is a Minnesota insurgency. They're conducting guerrilla warfare against federal agents, tailing them, sabotaging them, ramming them, assaulting them, stealing weapons, and harboring foreign fugitives and fraudsters. And the most grotesque thing about it is that they're forcing women onto the front lines. Now, if the federal government doesn't assert authority over this rebellion, the republic is going to fracture. Other sanctuary states will use the same playbook, forcing federal immigration agents out of their states and harboring migrants for cheap labor, votes, and welfare money. A coalition of sanctuary city-states, impenetrable by the federal government, will bring down the country. And that's what they want. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our
We want to bring in Greg Bavino, the Border Patrol chief, who I just mentioned is on the ground there right now. Greg, welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. Please do share with us what's happening there and describe the situation.
Sure, Sandra, the situation there at the federal building, the Whipple building, quite active protests out front at the building. And there have been some recent arrests made. Some of those protesters and rioters, they want to block the road, make it difficult for federal law enforcement to do its job. So they're being pushed out of the road, and if they don't move, they're being arrested.
Hey, Greg, it's John here. We know that it's been an awfully busy couple of weeks for you there in Minneapolis. We see the resist flag in the footage that we were looking at, although our camera has just gone down. Don't know why. It could simply be a battery, and we'll probably be back up again. But that's echoing the words of the governor of Minnesota last night, who said that people should go out and resist ICE. They should take their cameras out with them and film everything that they're doing. This idea, though, of holding protests right in front of the federal building, right where ICE is, the confrontation between the protesters and ICE, is in your mind, is that the way that people should be protesting ICE's presence, or should they have an area where protesters make their voices heard but avoid direct confrontation?
Sure, no one wants direct confrontation, John. We respect the First Amendment rights of anyone to air their grievances. We just ask those grievances to be aired civilly and not with violence. And that's where it seems a lot of these individuals cross the line, whether they're at the Whipple Federal Building or otherwise, is because they're encouraged, and we've said this many times, Sandra and John, they're encouraged to step over that line and, as you say, resist. And that is far and apart from exercising a First Amendment right to freedom of speech, freedom of assembly.
Hey, Greg, could you confirm whether or not tear gas or otherwise was deployed a few moments ago while we were watching that live?
Sandra, it didn't. I was there as they made the arrest. It didn't look like a lot of that there was any tear gas deployed. There may have been some smoke deployed, but there was an arrest made, and it looked like a textbook precision arrest of a targeted individual that was causing specific problems and had been causing problems over a period of time.
Gotcha. So we're watching what happened just a few moments ago. So that was an arrest that was made of a single individual?
Sandra, yes. Specific individual. Oftentimes these individuals will try to obstruct our ability to ingress and egress out of that facility. And as you know, that presents a problem for the good conduct of operations. It's unsafe for the civilian crowd there that is protesting, unsafe for agents, unsafe for our detainees. So for us to make that a safe area, it's kind of common sense. Don't stand in the road. I think we learned that all when we were very small children. It's not a good idea to stand in the middle of the road.
Yeah, and clearly the protesters at this point are trying to inhibit transit in and out of the Whipple Building federal facility there. And it appeared a short time ago when the officers moved forward to clear the crowd off the street that they were trying to let some vehicles come in and out of that facility. But that's part of the protest strategy, is to try to stop the federal government from conducting its business. This is all designed, all of these protests, the calls for protest from the governor, from the mayor, to try to get ICE to say, you know what, this isn't worth it, we're packing up and leaving. That does not appear like it's about to happen. In fact, the Department of Homeland Security is doubling down here, and they've had to put all of these extra officers on the line because, again, to the point that we were making earlier with Nicole Parker, there is no backup from the local law enforcement. So it only looks like what the politicians in Minnesota and Minneapolis are doing is encouraging the federal government to flood more resources to Minneapolis. Is that correct?
John, exactly. Let's take a look at some of the other areas we've operated. Take a look at Illinois and the Broadview Federal Facility. We saw some of the same tactics used by some of these rioters and agitators and protesters. But even in Illinois, under Governor Pritzker, and he's definitely no friend, they still allowed state and locals to come in and work with the federal government to make that Broadview facility safer. That's all we ask here at the Whipple facility here in Minnesota is we want safe ingress, egress so we can continue to conduct these Title VIII immigration operations. And anytime we can work with the state and local, as we did in Louisiana, somewhat Illinois, and North Carolina and other places, that's always success for all of us.
Greg, we were just discussing with Paul Morrow a short time ago the time of day, middle of the day. It's a work day. Clearly, it's Thursday. Who are these people protesting?
Sandra, great question. We do know that some of these individuals do come from out of state, and some of these individuals come to protest, and we are definitely looking at, how they're protesting. Are they being paid? What are the groups that are assisting, aiding, and abetting these rioters?
I think maybe we lost you there, Greg. Okay. Well, he is there, John. So we were happy we were able to get him as long as we did by phone, as he obviously has his eyes directly on the situation there. This was moments ago, as we don't have that live shot up right now. But this is a big question. Who are these people? How are they gathering? Why are they there? Something we continue to learn as these protests continue.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe. And tonight, in just a moment, by the way, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna will join us. Like many of his colleagues, Khanna is publicly attacking ICE operations in Minnesota and across the country. But before we face off tonight, let's take a little step back. Let's take a look at the reality on the ground in Minnesota and many sanctuary states all across the country. As we speak, ICE agents are faced with an incredibly difficult task. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they allowed, even encouraged millions and millions of illegal aliens from over 200 countries to cross into this country with a wide open southern border. Among those merely seeking work or a better life or government handouts, there were also scores of hardened criminals, gang members, rapists, pedophiles, terrorists, convicted killers who spread out all across the entire country. ICE agents, they have a duty. It's their job. It's federal law to locate these criminals and anyone else abusing our sovereignty and deport them before more Americans are hurt in any way. But to make matters worse, sanctuary states, they are shielding these criminals from the federal government and refusing to cooperate. They won't even hand them over after they get out on bail and released from prison, instead forcing ICE to conduct very complicated and very dangerous raids. Just in Minnesota alone, during a recent ICE operation, ICE apprehended multiple child rapists, multiple convicted murderers, gang members, others convicted of sexual assault, weapons charges, and 3 native Minnesotans have been killed by illegal immigrants since Governor Tim Walz took office. But there have been no vigils for any of these victims, no outpouring of anger, sadness, no protesting. You'd be hard-pressed to find any Democrat talking about any of the victims of illegal immigration. Instead, Democrats, they wax poetic about criminals while vilifying ICE agents, professionals, for upholding the law. Take a look.
Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process. No oversight, zero accountability happening in the United States of America today.
When I see ICE, I see slave patrols.
The dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany are the dangers that we need to react to now.
And these ICE agents running around our communities like masked bank robbers, terrorizing women.
Folks getting snatched off the street by secret police who are wearing masks.
ICE agents who have functionally become a secret federal police force.
ICE federal agents pulling up, terrorizing our communities, hopping out of unmarked vans, stealing and, yes, kidnapping people.
An authoritarian government in Washington, D.C. is dispatching masked agents to abduct immigrants from our streets.
This is Gestapo-like
behavior. There should be no question to what our country would look like had the Confederacy won.
It does look like a Gestapo operation. It does look like the Gestapo.
What the Trump administration is doing here is they are playing race games. They are explicitly racist in a number of occasions here, and that's what they're trying to do on our streets.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons.
These Democrats are not just smearing the Trump administration. They're inciting a mob. They're encouraging their emotionally disturbed base to engage in risky behavior against law enforcement officials. Assault on ICE agents are up an unprecedented 1,300%. Vehicular attacks are up 3,200%. There is an 8,000% increase in death threats against ICE agents. But just yesterday, Governor Walz continued to inflame tensions, accusing agents of racism. Take a look.
News reports simply don't do justice to the level of chaos and disruption and trauma the federal government is raining down upon our communities. 2,000 to 3,000 armed agents of the federal government have been deployed to Minnesota. Armed, masked, undertrained ICE agents are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live.
Keep in mind, every administration since 9/11 has ordered ICE raids. Barack Obama deported millions of people, including many who were apprehended during ICE raids, similar to what you are seeing today, with just two differences. One, the majority deportation involved non-criminal illegal aliens. And two, there were no violent mobs trying to block ICE operations and assault agents. Apparently, in this case, it was different because the Democrat was in charge. But our Constitution is the same. The fact that the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution establishes federal law as the supreme law of the land. Of course, that includes immigration enforcement. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Hey you guys, we got through it. You guys are good? Y'all have any thoughts on the video? So what's happening in Minnesota is not a peaceful protest. Waltz for prison 2026 is pretty sad. It's pretty sad. I don't know how much longer President Trump is going to deal with it. And now the lady that lost her life is a martyr. I just think it's a sad day. It's a sad day, but the ICE agents are still going to do their job, and they're going to do exactly what they were voted to do. I just choose to show you guys what's happening and let you decide for yourself. I'm not trying to persuade you to go to the right or the left. You can see for yourself, but I think common sense should prevail. I'm praying that Republicans win the midterm elections. That's going to be really important, so you guys get out there and vote. And I'm praying for our country. I would like our country to be safe, but what's happening right now and all this fighting for illegal immigrants and people to break the law is against the United States' best interests. So thankfully, the Republicans are in office. We are in charge. I mean, right now, things are looking good. But in reality, that can all change during the midterms. And I will just be watching and reporting on the news like the rest of you. And that's just how it is. Misunderstood, Miss. Oh, Lord. You're lucky I don't have any mods in my chat right now. Let me just read your comments before I get out of here. ICE has been around before the Proud Boys. Very much listening to this real life news. How you doing, Trishy? I just like to show you guys what's happening. I don't have to say that much. President Trump did a speech, but I'm gonna have to probably play that for you guys tomorrow or later today. But if you were listening earlier, or you can read about it back, or you can just look at the news yourself. Karoline Leavitt did an excellent job speaking. I love the way she handles the press, and she laid out Donald Trump's plans, what he has done for the country. And I noticed that a lot of people like to say they don't like Trump, he's doing nothing for the country, but they really don't have any reasoning behind it. And I always ask, use your words. Say what you don't like. Let's have a conversation. And that's when I get a flood of insults. And it shouldn't be that way. We should be able to have a conversation. And I feel that no matter what Donald Trump, you guys can disagree with me, no matter what Donald Trump does, a lot of people are just going to disagree because it's Donald Trump. Okay? There's a lot of things that Donald Trump is doing for our country. And I support the commander-in-chief. I believe in upholding the law. And the ICE agents are there to enforce the law. And there's a problem when the state police and the governor and the mayor does not support the ICE agents, because it's almost as if they're calling for a civil war. And that's not okay. Minnesota has a lot of problems right now with the scandal there, all the fraud. Waltz has his hand full, and I feel as if they're deflecting on what happened with Ms. Good, may she rest in peace. They're deflecting on that instead of talking about their Somali problem and talking about their fraud situation in Minnesota. No wonder they don't want ICE agents there, and they don't want people looking into what's going on in the state of Minnesota. But that's what Donald Trump is good at. He doesn't worry about public opinion or anything else. He does what he has to do to get the job done. And he really and truly is he's the one president, not the only one, that said exactly what he was going to do. We voted him into office. Not everyone, but he did win the popular vote. And Donald Trump did what he said he's going to do. No men playing in women's sports. It's okay to call a man and a woman. Just common sense stuff. And more importantly, well, not more importantly, but just as important, protecting the borders, making sure that you come into the country. You can come into the country, but come in the right way, legally, and support the United States. That's all I'm saying. All right. They're all paid agitators, and if you can't see that, don't report anything. I did show that. I did show that they were paid agitators. Long live Donald Trump. I love seeing you guys in the chat. I love seeing you guys speak out, because how about lower grocery prices? The prices of grocery are lower. I live in California, and the prices of groceries are lower. Michael makes a good point. Funny how nobody hated ICE under Obama. Can you guys tell that I'm tired today? I'm like, but I just shared the news. Small Somali daycares in Texas going down. Okay, so we have some like-minded people, and then you have some delusional folks, but that's okay. You all are welcome to speak. America is not America anymore. It's been sold to other nations. That's why Donald Trump talks about making America great. We need to have a sense of national pride and take pride in our country. Protect our country. When you come here illegally, you're not respecting American laws, and you're not expecting Americans here. You just want to use resources that could be used for American citizens. American citizens have trouble getting health care, have trouble just with affordable housing and things like that. And when you have to take care of a bunch of people that are undocumented, then it does take a toll. And I would like to see America strong. Yes, we do help other countries. That's what we're known for. We work hard, and we do. Well, you can see what happened in Gaza. You see what happened in Venezuela. But we also have to look out for Americans, all right? Literally everything Trump says and runs on are things Democrats have run on and done too, but only when he does it, deemed bad in one group by the other. That's the kind of biases I don't like. You're absolutely right. National pride. National pride. I love America, U.S., and I live in Bali, Australia. Welcome. America's a joke at the moment. Ooh, not a joke. How did I end up here? Welcome, John. I'm Canadian. Is that okay? I love America. I've been to Canada. I've been to what part? I've been to oh, my brain is tired. British Columbia, Vancouver. Over there. Great place. Great place. Hey, Kevin. Help other countries. Most of the world disagrees. No one who disagrees. Definitely not the Venezuelans who were freed from a dictator. I don't think they disagree. Have you haters even met a Venezuelan? They're elated at the taking of Maduro. Exactly. Biden talked about capturing Maduro. He put a bounty out. Donald Trump, in his first term, put out a bounty of $20 million. And then Biden had a bounty of 25. Donald Trump doubled it to 50, and he got the job done. Now Maduro is facing a trial for crimes against Americans, okay, our country. I will be watching and following that trial. Drink a glass of water. It'll help your tiredness. Yeah, doctor. Well, I'm going to go sleep. I had a long stream yesterday. Okay. I lied. What did I lie about, Thomas? What did I lie about? Or did you just want to put something in the chat so I can read your comment? I'm not sure. My wife is Venezuelan. Biden wanted Maduro. Maduro told Trump, come get me. He was taunting the United States. Absolutely. And Donald Trump wants to come in and make this country strong. I don't know why the resistance. A lot of paid agitators, paid protesters, getting people to start riots and protests. I'm so sick of George Floyd being used in this situation. What happened with Renee Good does not compare to George Floyd. It's not the same. And I feel that they're making these comparisons so we don't look at the fraud there that's happening on Tim Walz's watch. That's what they need to worry about. It is scary times. I love America. Bite me. That's right, John. They bring in vets saying, yeah, we walk it. Okay. Mr. Well, but yet you're here. Trump can't fix it. You're right. Changing Maduro is still the same. Well, it's going to take some time. Well, the vice president is taking over now. Olympics and FIFA is being boycotted in America. I don't think anybody's going to boycott the Olympics. They worked too hard to get there. When they were boycotting the Olympics, some of the women refused to go against men that were allowed to compete in women's sports, which is absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane. Daquan. Daquan, you still hanging out? Yeah. Okay, let me read some of your other comments. You don't know why the resistance open your eyes. He's a traitor and Russian asset. I must be getting paid. You know, Bonnie, and I'm not trying to sound rude, but those are the comments that I'm talking about when it comes from, you're obviously from the left or you're a liberal. And it's just these assumptions that you make to make your point. You don't know what I am. I'm getting paid because I chose to stream about Donald Trump. So it's those kind of false correlations that people like to make when they don't have facts to back up their point. Now, I don't mind anybody in the chat that's from the political left or liberals. I don't mind that. But can you guys at least think about your comments before you just put them in the chat? That's all I'm saying. Go woke or go broke. Mercy. I love you guys. Though you guys crack me up. Who can vote left with all that is coming out of blue states? I live in a very liberal state. I live in a sanctuary state. And I don't think it'll change. We have a heavy, community here. And I think California will probably always be liberal. Thank you. I appreciate you. God bless you too. I think that is really important that the political right is allowed to speak, because when you come from the left, you can say the most outrageous things. You could call people all kinds of stuff. You saw how they celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. May he rest in peace. And people were bragging and laughing and mocking about it in the street. It was the most disgusting thing that I have ever seen. Why? Because Charlie Kirk had conservative values. He spoke to young college students about voting and told the truth about the Republican Party. I do not agree with everybody 100%. But what I do agree with is your right to speak, your freedom of speech. And that has to go for all Americans, whether you're on the right or the left. Thank you for the super sticker. How you deport a Native American. Which Native American got deported? Jetty. Because I know that news talks about stuff like that, and some people did try to dress up or pretend that they weren't from here so they can get deported, so they can say, oh, look at ICE did that to me too. Whenever there is a mistake made, the American was sent back. It was brought back here. So there's a lot. Americans are not getting sent to other countries like the media wants you to believe. You're in Oregon, Sebastian? Let's be honest. You are all Americans. You are all immigrants. Many people cheering for Trump are descendants of immigrants themselves. You've forgotten what the Statue of Liberty stands for. I have not forgotten what the Statue of Liberty stands for. I have absolutely not forgotten. Hi, beautiful. Hey, David, I see you. You're extremely talented, and it's great shame others can't see what you see. During Manhattan, I believe that they can. They refuse the truth, and some people you put the truth right in front of them, and they just refuse. And those people you can't help. You can't help it. For me, I choose to look into things myself, judge for myself. I'm not going to vote the way that my parents vote or the people that voted before me. It didn't work. There was no changes in their life, and I love my family. I love my family, but I had to do what was best for my family. And my family's conservative and will always be conservative. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in 2028, but I know for the next 3 years, Donald Trump is in office, and I'm going to support the commander in chief, and I'm going to continue to show you guys what's happening in the world. And it's okay if you guys disagree with me, but can you at least have reasons why you disagree with me and stop some of the insults? Aaron, I see you, friend. That's all I'm saying. All hate speech should be banned from right or left. I agree with that, Act 574. I totally agree with that. That don't make sense. I can't break it down to you any further. Nobody else complain about it not making sense. I'm subbing. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. None of you have read it. Ice is me biased. How is Ice biased? Ice has a hard job. Did you guys see? Just shared and typed. Daquan, thank you so much. I'm sorry that I can't get to all of your comments, but they go pretty fast on the screen. Hate speech is a part of free speech. Aaron, how are you doing? I see you. Cyprian, I'll see you later. Not all who come to America want to be American, Kevin, that's fine. Free speech. Lady, you are un-American for attacking free speech. Admiral, I don't know if you're slow comprehending or if you're just trying to be an agitator. Were you sent here? Because I just said that free speech was free speech, regardless if we like the speech or not, but I can't speak any slower. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, guys. That's a lot. Thank you. I like this comment. Hi from Poland. This is unbelievable what these protesters are doing. Welcome from Poland. I think ICE and police must stand their ground even in a more fun way. And can you believe that people are saying it in fun? Please, that's right, 200. That's right. Ban hate speech. Fine. Crazy Dems won't comply. And be off the streets, no voting. I don't know what that made me laugh, Shelly, but it just did. ICE is running and gunning. You said hate speech should be banned. No, Adwa, I was reading a comment from the chat. So the joke would be on you because you're just looking for a reason to argue with me. And that's okay because it's still audience engagement. Do your thing. You're helping my stream. Thank you. I'm from Chicago. No ice in the hood. Okay, Jetty. The Democrats are losing their voting base. Nobody will vote for me after all the illegals are in jail. Yeah, you guys, it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't have these conversations to invite you guys up. I just like to know what the people are thinking out there. Your voice matters. And hey, Prince, how are you? Your voice matters. When did I say you could have hate speech? Did y'all not just hear me say? Never mind. I can't. I can't. Whatever. Take what you want. No such thing as hate speech, just people that are weak-minded and can't handle hearing the truth. Oh, mercy. I don't know if I agree with that, but you said you agree with banning speech in your stream, you idiots. Somebody sounds angry. Thank you for your comment. Daquan, they don't know me, huh? They don't know where I come from. I'm not worried about the words. You don't need to go to school to be educated. I went to college. I'm very educated. I also served my country in the military. This isn't about me. This is about what's happening in the country. Don't make this about me. Please don't make this about me. Trump derangement syndrome is real all over the world. That's right. Daquan, what's wrong with him? You know I'll get them together, right? Why doesn't he stick up to Putin? Donald Trump, what do you mean? He has stuck up for. I think that some of you just say stuff. And a lot of people that are commenting me don't know the darndest thing about politics. I could tell by some of y'all, some of your talking points. But because I like to show the ignorance in people, I have instructed my mods not to block you or time you out because I think it's important to see where these comments are coming from. And they darn sure are not coming from the political right. So for the left, represent your side intelligently. So that way we can have a great conversation, because all of the insults is not a good look. It's not a good look. Nobody's going. When people go to insulting and name calling, that means you have no facts to back up what you're talking about. I didn't even really give commentary. I played the news, for crying out loud. Deadwin, what's wrong with him? I played the news. So that way, if you don't like what's said, argue with the politician. Argue with the politician that said it. Not MU. Now, again, I love this country. I believe in national security and stability. I fully support Donald Trump. I fully support upholding the competition. I support free speech, regardless if I like the speech or not. There's a lot of things that could hurt my feelings, but you know what? If I don't like what you are saying, I change the channel. I don't listen to it. I don't engage, okay? Because I have the right to speak my mind. Republicans have the right to speak their mind, and so do Democrats. Okay, that's how it works in this country, regardless if we like it or not. And the only reason the left will call Republicans names like fascists and Satan worshippers and all those is because you want it to be okay to attack someone who comes from the right. You want it to be okay. This aggression towards Republicans is absolutely insane, and somebody has to say it. And I'm not trying to make anybody a victim, but it is what it is. If you speak a certain way and if you go along with the agenda, everybody praise you. And everybody likes to say that Donald Trump is a cult. That is a cult. It's a cult to tell me that I must vote Democrat because I'm black. And isn't that who was it, Biden? Isn't that what these presidents have led us to believe? There's a lot of people that look and think like me. And I love to have conversations with them because I feel that the right has been silenced. And you can't, I live in California. If I go outside and say that I'm Republican right now, I'll be canceled because of cancel culture. Now, if I go and be like, yeah, I can't stand Trump. I can't stand Trump. I hate Trump. Then I'll be accepted. Well, I choose to do what I want to do. I'm not going to go with the agenda. I'm going to follow what's right. And for me and a lot of other people, what's right is defending our country and supporting our commander-in-chief. Some of us want this country to be strong, and it's not strong by having open borders and just letting people in, saying that they're going to make the laws. They're going to do what they want to do here. I went to the No Kings protest. I haven't seen so many people dressed like dinosaurs in my life. It was really hard to take seriously. I also went to Donald Trump was in Coachella. I went there too. So I'm definitely there. And it was such a sense of pride there. I absolutely loved it. And people don't like to talk about Donald Trump. There was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life in Coachella, but they just wrote it off as no big deal. I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Look at all the things Democrats have done. Google it. Exactly. Nobody likes being black. I love being black. I don't have any mods to block you for that very dumb statement. I get so tired of race being talked about. I have never seen race talked about so much. I thought that you guys don't like talking about race. I thought you don't like blacks using the black card, but when it's convenient, you love to throw my race in my face. I'm American. I just happen to be a different shade of brown. Okay? I don't understand your problem. I'm very proud of who I am, and you should be proud of you too. If you are white, you should be able to say, yeah, I'm white. Okay. You don't have to. We see that you're white, and I don't have to say that I'm black. It's obvious, but I love the color of my skin. But I love it because I was born with it, just like you should love how you were born. Why do you guys bring up race? Americans just come in a lot of shades, right? Stop with the race card. Didn't we already get rid of DEI and all those kind of things, and you guys are still bringing up race? I mean, the only way for us to have these conversations and to stop trying to deflect with your ignorance because you want to say things that's going to trigger me is to just shut up and say intelligent stuff. That's what you can do. Anything else that you want to bring? Now, I knew that I didn't always start off talking about politics. I used to talk about other stuff, sobriety and just things like that, right? But the political right was getting beat up. So I decided, no, I'm good. I need to open up discussions. I'm not going to hide my beliefs because people are not going to like me. And I used to go on my stream and I would just talk. But I used to go to other places. But the moment I open up my mouth, I'll get kicked off the panels. People would discredit me, try to cyberbully me and stalk me. So I said, you know what? I can come here because if I don't like what you guys say, I can block you. But I'm not sensitive. But again, Republicans are very human. We love our country. We believe in strong communities. We love our neighbors. Families are important, and it's important to protect our country. But when you have a group of people trying to silence the political right, that's enough. That's enough. And I do feel that it's important that we do speak out and we do say that it's okay to be a Republican. It doesn't make you racist. It doesn't make you a bad person, like they want you to believe. There's a problem when one political party tries to demonize the other. There's a huge problem there. Okay? The right is wrong, or okay, whatever. Into your heart, for in you Jerome, God, what you got? You are a beautiful Black woman. You guys are beautiful too. I know it. If you have to be in a cloud, it's got a woman's card. Be right back if you're still here. Oh, DFJC, yeah, I'll be here for about just a few more minutes because I got to go to bed. I got to get up in the morning. America, you need more people like this. Lady, smart, reasonable, and confident. 200, you have to be. You have to be. Oh, that was my thought. So I'm not really offended by what people say because I can remove the comments. I obviously don't have a lot of mods in my chat for a reason because I let you guys speak freely. I know who I am. Your words are not going to bother me. I know that things that I say is probably going to make some people upset, but sometimes people need to be told the truth. I had a conversation with someone. It was this podcaster, a very popular podcaster, and because I love my channel, I'm not fighting some morals. Okay, sure. Why don't you give them to me? So, because I'm listening to this podcaster, and you guys don't know this podcaster, and he had the nerve to say that men can have periods. Like, are you okay? And no one said anything. So I'm like, excuse me. And it was the most insane thing. You heard that doctor? She was asked a simple question. Can men have babies? Well, she did not want to say no. So there's a problem. They're trying to dumb down America. Men can't have babies. But saying that could get me in trouble. Why? This is the world that we're coming to. It's okay to say that there are two genders. I'm not talking about biological hiccups. You know, it's okay to say those things. Good morning, Patrick. She couldn't answer, Tony Rowe. You saw men can't have babies. Men can't have babies because people are delusional. So me saying that was horrible. That doctor, that was so sad and pathetic. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound judgmental. But sometimes you just have to speak truth. No, I'm not talking about men that feel like women and they dress like women. That's your choice. But it's my choice to not have to call you by something that you're not. If I come out here and say, I'm a man, y'all, and I come and put on all these manly clothes, is that going to make me a man? Or am I a woman who identifies as a man? There's a huge difference. Okay? It's satanic drug abuse. I guess, whatever you want to say, I don't care. Go try to get Greenland by force presidency. Greenland would be important to the United States. I'm not going to get into Greenland tonight. Damage Inc. It was a doctor. If you look on Fox News, this doctor, and you scroll down a little bit, this doctor, they showed a clip. This doctor is being talked about because she talked about she did not want to say that men could have babies. And I did play it earlier, but I'm not sure where it is in my stream. Is this real or are we being punked? Whatever you want to think. Whatever you want to think. Right, during Manhattan. You've never not been able to say men can have babies. They have you afraid of the boogeyman. Mark, I didn't understand it. I didn't even think about that point, Mark. Maybe the doctor was afraid to say it because she was worried about her patients. Well, I work. I can't say that I'm a Republican. I can't play Fox News. I can't listen to Fox News. I keep it very silent. And a lot of the patients come in and they're like, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. And sometimes I don't even know what they're talking about. They're like, isn't it awful? But I voted for Harris, whatever. And I'm like, God, she has TDS. And I can't say anything. I have to go along with it. So I just nod. And one lady cried. She's a white lady. And it's important in this case. And she started crying. I was like, what is wrong with you? She's like, I live in Compton. I'm black like you. And I'm like, Lord. She's like, yes. And I voted. I voted for you. I'm like, I didn't even run for presidency. What is she talking about? I always think she's talking about Harris. But man, she started crying. It's like, some people need to relax a little bit. I don't know. But I get that all the time. Could you say, no. Apollo isn't Trump's real pretty. The California Apollo. No, what's that? I've been thank you. Come through. Old school. I was like, what is wrong? Been a Republican for 29 years. There's a lot of us. Did you like my fist bump for you? That's right. I see you. Flashing the pan paid dirt. I'm in for Trump. Harris, the leader that supports the Greenland deal, just bought a mansion in Malibu. Wow. So there's a lot of like-minded people in the chat. Also, me since Trump. Right, Johan Safar. TDS is really bad. We have it here in Australia. Wow. All the way in Australia. He's not even the president there. That's pretty well. Self-censor, go figure. TDS is such a cop-out. 8 mil. I'm tired of Trump destroying our nation, but can you say how he's destroying our nation? What's wrong with them? Everything. A lot of things. I won't say everything, but yeah. Every president in the U.S. thinks they have a spirit in them. So much TDS in Howland. Johannesburg. So there's a lot that's going on, you guys. Aaron, no. Can you put it back in the chat? The comments go too fast. I miss a lot of comments. It's not on purpose. Oh, thank you guys for the gifts. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. Oh, thank you, the Ken. I'm sorry that I missed y'all cash apps and y'all super chats. Thank you so much, Tim, the Kitten, Jetty, and my super chats. It's hard to stream about these things. YouTube does not like it. So I do appreciate you guys supporting the live. Support the live by double tapping the screen. Help me to spread the truth. And this is what I'm going to be talking about for a while. Hey, Mr. Daquan. Every now and again, I'll do an open panel or something like that. But that's kind of hard to do because I never know what y'all going to say when y'all hit my panel. And sometimes I'm lost in this in the conversation. But, you know, I'm just going to keep praying for the country and those kind of things. I share stuff on my community wall. I do communicate back with you guys about different stuff. Not always politics, but a lot of times it's politics, but just different stuff. But I do have a community if you guys want to join the conversation and regular streams if you guys subscribe, okay? More importantly, though, I'm praying for our country. I'm praying that we have a strong nation, that we're more united, and that more people will see that the ICE agents are only there to do their job, that we voted for Donald Trump to protect the borders. And I do not believe that all these people are fighting against Donald Trump. I do believe that they're paid agitators and protesters. They want the media to think that Donald Trump is causing all this chaos. Donald Trump is not causing the chaos. People breaking the law is causing the chaos, not Donald Trump. If you obey the law, you abide the law, and you do what's right, you won't have any problems. But when you have people here that are careless and reckless and want to commit crimes, and they're gang members and drug pushers and all of that, we're going to have crime in the United States. And Donald Trump is cleaning up the drug problem, going after the cartels, cleaning up homelessness, putting them in rehab, making them go to rehab or get mental health treatment. That's how you clean up the streets and the homeless population. You've got to want help, though. You've got to get healthy. You have to make a decision. And sometimes you need a little push to make the right decision. And that's what's going to make the country stronger. Our economy is getting better. But Donald Trump has not even been in office for a full year yet. Okay? He still has a lot of work to do, and he needs the time to do it. All right. Thank you, Master Game. I appreciate you. All right, you guys. I need to lay it down. Thank you guys for Trump is responsible and whoever. I don't know. I can't get your comments. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys. Please like or hype the video. I don't know. I'm going to bed, you guys. I will talk to you guys later today. Be safe, and I am praying for our country. Did you see the journalist who got the ICE job offer? No act, but I will look. I will look. Okay, good night, you guys. I'm going to run. Bye-bye. Thank you for hanging out. I will look for the journalist. It takes 2 years to make it great again. Daquan, thank you for hanging out. Yeah, I was joining you. I feel like we keep getting like nothing bad has happened. Pray, 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 you guys. We got this. Good night. Thank y'all for hanging out. I was saying. Okay, Aaron. Okay. Bye, you guys. Bye, goons.